Hello, welcome to my presentation on Let's Build the Metaverse. I want to talk about the Metaverse, not only about the technology that's enabling this Metaverse, but also about the trends and the human behaviors that really going to flourish because of the Metaverse, and talk about how, if the Metaverse is the future of the internet, how can you build the best version of the Metaverse. My name is Chennavasin. I am General Partner of Venture Reality Fund. We are a leading early stage investor in VR, AR, AI, and the Metaverse. I did my undergraduate degree at Stanford University with a concentration on human-computer interface. I've been a VR, AR developer, VR artist, and more importantly, an investor for VR, AR, AI, and Metaverse startups. We've looked at over 6,000 companies in the space. We've invested in over 43, including some of the most well-known players in the space, including Epic Games, Rec Room, Wave, and Fiddle Labs. I'm a speaker at many VR and AR conferences, and I'm a mentor for VR and AR educators and celebrities worldwide. So I want to kind of talk about what is the Metaverse and focusing on 3 core activities: this idea of play, live, and work, which I think are the cornerstone of what the Metaverse will provide for people. Then we'll talk about some of the key components and technologies that make up the Metaverse and the importance of both VR and AR, and also blockchain technologies for enabling the best versions of the Metaverse. And then we'll wrap it up with a quick summary. So for the past 2 years, everyone has really been talking about the Metaverse. Although for science and science fiction, it's lived much longer than that, originating in so graphite, so Stephenson. But more importantly, as it's rised up in prominence now, it's because the Metaverse is now officially possible. And I think Facebook has been at the forefront of this. Mark Zuckerberg has famously stated earlier this year that within 5 years, Facebook will not be known as a social media company, but will be known as a Metaverse company. And of course, the rumor are that he may be changing the name of the company to really showcase and highlight this new North Star for them. But what he's actually said about Metaverse is that it's a virtual environment where you can be present with people in digital spaces. It's the successor to the mobile internet. And this idea that, again, it's think about the internet 2D and this next step of the internet being 3D embodied, much more natural behavior, and hopefully provide a more richer experience. Like that's the core of what Mark Zuckerberg is talking about here. And then to stream Epic Games, their activities with Fortnite definitely put them as one of the top players and could become Metaverse. And about Metaverse going to be far more persuasive and powerful than anything else. And once that company is in control of all of this, they become more powerful than any government and big God on earth. So now again, if we think about what are the ramifications there, if we really truly build this 3D internet, and what will it mean for people's lives, it comes when we really sees the huge potential and impact this will have, and how important it is that it's not being controlled by just one central company. Now, Tim Cook has talked about AR, specifically talking about how overlaying the virtual world with an over the real world, but ideas combining the physical world with the digital world and enhancing relationships and enhancing your collaboration. I think that's one of the core fundamental activities in the Metaverse. And this idea of not necessarily escaping into a digital world, but actually improving your world, both in the digital world and in the physical world. And really fascinating, even the official US government, the US District Court, they're really on Apple versus Apple. I define Metaverse, and they call it a digital virtual world where individuals can create virtual avatars and play them through interactive programs and create experiences. It's interesting, even the government had to take a strong stance on what the Metaverse is. And then I think one of the founding quote I seen recently is from Tencent official, and I put out a little infographic explaining their view on the Metaverse. And at the very end of that, they mentioned Tencent is closest to the Metaverse. And I think this is actually very true because again, Tencent is a major investor in the games, and they also, of course, run some of the big social platforms and gaming platforms. And so, understand that some combination of gaming and social being core components of the Metaverse, and Tencent would have to be one of the big players. But overall, if we look at this, we can see everyone, in terms of the largest technology companies in the world, are really thinking about talking about building this Metaverse future. But digging a little bit and think about what is the Metaverse. And I think opportunity, what I think is interesting, everyone's throwing their own definition, trying to explain what it is, trying to define what it is. I think this is the opportunity now where we're defining it. Let's take the best versions, the best ideas, and bring them together to build truly the best metaverse. And I think some of the things that people say commonly talk about the metaverse are distilling that into this idea. Okay, it's a collection of virtual worlds with large online communities. They offer diverse social, media, entertainment, and commerce experiences that allow people to live a fulfilling digital life. I really like this idea of a fulfilling digital life so that they can do things like work and they can live, they can also play and do it all digitally and have it mean something, be satisfying, have it be a positive experience. And as I described it, you'd say, okay, well, these things kind of exist already, and definitely certain parts of it exist, and then maybe all of the other kinds of exist about how people it really impacts you. And I think the idea is with the metaverse, we're going to take share of virtual world and really make it mainstream and impact billions of people that live in this way. Like I mentioned, what does it mean to live a fulfilled digital life? Or just fulfilled life in general? Really, I think these are core activities that make up, the metaverse. And we'll start with play. First, we play in the digital video games. Everything from casual gaming on a mobile phone, hardcore gaming on a PC or console, online, single player, multiplayer, all of that. We'll talk a little bit more about the trends that we're seeing in the space, but fundamentally play is one of the biggest activities on the planet right now in terms of just time spent and money spent. And then live, decided like what is life? Of course, it's hard life, but what did non-playing life look like? And that's socializing, meeting with other people, sharing thoughts and ideas, and that of course is about today by social networks, social media, and then also enjoying storytelling through movies, film, literature, music, fashion, so much more. In that sort of enjoying creative culture and enjoying culture, and so that's of course a huge part of our lives. And then really, I think the biggest opportunity, what makes the metaverse different than other previous virtual worlds or online groups, is a much stronger emphasis on work. Earning a living, making a livable wage as part of the digital economy. And right now, digital economy jobs, IT jobs, programming, from creating a program, creating the internet, to now offering content on top of it. I think that spectrum has widened and broadened over the years. And what I like about this idea of expanding the digital economy or expanding people that benefit from the digital economy is, if we think about it, the digital economy is infinite and never ending. There's always a demand for more, but it's often not resource limited. So it's, and of course there's electricity, but beyond that, you can think about one of the few very sustainable economies that are out there, right? Now, if you look at intersections between some of these activities, some of the scores, you can already see behaviors or activities or platforms that exist that kind of show off what this looks like. And so, the combination of play and live, we're seeing massive online games, of course. But they also have non-game entertainment content like virtual concerts and movies. So, Fortnite and Roblox primarily about games, have been mature, they become these hangout spots for the younger generation where they will go and hang out at concerts or watch movies or watch entertainment or listen to albums with their friends. And so, it blends the line between play and live. In the same way, when we look at games with in-game economies and user-generated content like MMOs, Roblox, Rec Room, and others, you can see that users are creating content that then they sell to other users and monetize with money. And we're already hearing stories of how people earn a livelihood on these. And now, recently, there's been a new type of game, we'll talk about this more, where they have a model of play to earn, where it's just playing the game, you actually can get virtual currency or virtual tokens, then you cash out reward. And people are making, in some countries, in some several countries are making things like 3 times minimum wage there. It's incredible. And then, combination of social or living and working, we're seeing things like Twitter on Instagram on platforms like YouTube and Instagram. These influencers create content and they monetize it with advertisers, and they're actually effectively earning a living, make content for the internet, and live on social networks. And so we think about this intersection of all three is really what Metaverse will enable and make possible for many more people. Because like we said, in these intersections between play and work and live and work, right now it's just a small part of the population that can do these jobs. But as we really combine all three together, we see more and more people be able to do this. So let's dive deep into gaming and some of the gaming trends that we're seeing. Globally now, we can say that gaming is now the biggest leisure activity. It's really common, again, starting with Generation X, it was really 79% of people say they play video games at least weekly, and with later generations become more and more prevalent. And you can see in the chart, it's like Generation Z would be the first, where video first is not their major favorite entertainment activity, and it really is gaming. And it translates to huge numbers. So for context, right, we thought of World of Warcraft being huge at the time, right? And it was 12 million MAU in 2010 at the height of its popularity when it first launched. Now compare that to the online games that we're seeing now, and Fortnite with over 350 million registered players, have 80 million MAU in 2020, and then Roblox has about 202 million MAU in 2021. And so you see that over time, right, the amount of gamers and the people that are connected to this game activity has exploded. And the average gamer plays about 8 hours, 27 minutes each week. But you think that across all the generations, particularly the younger generations, so Roblox players, they're playing 2.6 hours a day, almost double the amount that average plays. So there's a trend just continuing. And so now when we think about, okay, these kids are growing up in a 3D world, playing in a 3D playground, will they be satisfied with the 2D internet? No, definitely not. And of course, this also translates into huge money. And so what we're seeing here is that global video game industry had made, according to IC, almost 180 billion in 2020. That's more than the global film, which got 100 billion in 2019, that's even numbers. And then North American sports was 75 billion. And so easily see how video games as an industry is just making huge money. And now, yeah, Apple, it's really interesting. Apple doesn't think themselves like they didn't put out games per se, but as one of the largest, most profitable platforms, like make 8.5 billion profits from gaming in 2019, and about 70% of the actual revenue of games. So you can definitely see how games absolutely become the biggest leisure activity. Let's talk about live. Trends we're seeing in this place, definitely this idea of how do we interact in the digital world beyond gaming. And I don't think anyone would argue that this is a controversial idea. Social media has taken over our lives. on average, users spend 2 hours and 30, almost 30 minutes per day on social media in 2020. 3.2 billion people actively using social networks. And of course, it's spread across multiple networks. But when you think about it, it's like, yeah, I think it's very clear now. People are really concerned about what the negative impacts that social media and reach can have on the population at large. We'll get back to that more. But it's not just about social media. When we think about the social activities that people do, music is a big part of our lives, how we enjoy music, especially with our friends, have really changed in the digital world. And like I mentioned before, they have virtual concerts that have tens of millions of attendees, spending real money either to attend or buy virtual goods. And Travis Scott, who's performing in Fortnite, was actually the second virtual concert, was huge, kind of showing that it just wasn't just a one-time thing. Again, it's not just about Fortnite. We're seeing this across other platforms like Roblox as well, where Zoom must accept 33 million viewers. Even on social networks, the weekend, a virtual concert powered by a company called Wave, and that was actually on TikTok, not in a game, and that had over 2 million live views, but 1.6 billion social video views. So you can see the impact of these are enormous, and it's not just a one-time thing, but it's becoming part of music and entertainment culture. And when we think of life and we talk about social life, we talk about music, and of course, fashion is a very big part of everyone's life, identity, art, and when we think about culture, we think about all of the other aspects of how we present ourselves, who we are, and we can see that the digital version is also becoming a group industry in and of itself. And Fortnite, it's very interesting. I think Forbes will point out that Fortnite, majority of if you think about what they do, the virtual goods that are being sold, some of a lot of it is actually digital skins or virtual fashion. And if you look at that in that way, Fortnite's virtual fashion industry has much money to Amazon, about $3 billion profit all the way back in 2018. And even just one set of line from NFL, it's about 50 million of those. What's the potential for buying virtual digital dresses and accessories that again don't have a correlation to the real world? And even more recently, we're seeing the fashion world really put into this idea of digital dresses for avatars, like the Chennavasin digital dress collection, recently for 6 million. It's not just about fashion, we're also seeing art and collectibles as well. Apple is very well known with NBA for their top NFT product. They did about 700 million in sales in secondary sales in less than a year in 2021. And also, not just Apple with the entire NFT sales value in the first half of 21 was reportedly $2.5 billion. So really, this idea of buying selling virtual goods, all of a sudden, almost unthinkable 20 years ago, has become commonplace in very big business. Now, like I mentioned before, I think this is where we're seeing some of the most interesting trends of redefining what is work, and especially what is digital work. And originally, IT work was sitting at a desk and writing code, but now it's so many other things. So, to the internet creator economy, essentially, it's the idea that social media influencers, streamers, bloggers, YouTube creators, they create content for the internet. They monetize them directly through tips and support from their audience. The majority monetizing through ads, advertisers. So YouTube paid out $30 billion in 3 years content creators. TikTok has 200 million creator fund that they say will grow up to $1 billion in 3 years. So you can see again more and more people, and it is the case where in the creator economy as it is right now, it's really the superstar that's named most. But I think one of the big challenges of the current creator economy is that it's revenue from advertising. What we see is ad-driven economy is a toxic attention-based ecosystem where it's all about sensationalizing traffic clicks to get the most views, and that was sometimes bad behavior as we've seen, where anger and misinformation really thrive in these kinds of ecosystems, and then encourage bad behavior by platforms to do things like selling user data and have more targeted ads. And so this all creates a kind of toxic environment that honestly, I think we're all thinking about and reassessing, is this the right way forward? So what I really find fascinating about Metaverse and very promising about Metaverse is that they have a different type of creator economy. Instead of a media-based creator economy, now creators from Metaverse are building 3D objects, 3D avatars, digital goods, and interactive experiences they can be sold direct to other players. And so now it's not just about, hey, can I drive more eyeballs to this, get pennies? It's, okay, no, if people see that people enjoy it, they actually pay real money so that you can live a real, livable wages. Roblox already paid out $250 million to their user-generated content developers in 2020. Top developers earn $2 million a year. I love the story of kids playing a game or building within this game and able to pay off their parents' mortgage, their college tuition. And there are over 345,000 developers in the Roblox ecosystem. So roughly about 5% of Roblox creator or developers are creators as opposed to the entire player audience. How's this changing as we move to a more fully immersive universe? I think Red Room is a good example of this. Red Room started off as a VR-first user-generated content social platform. Think about it as like a Roblox 2.0. And while again, they're so much earlier, they have about 25 million users. They're already at 13% of our creators and already paying out their creators over $1 million in 2021. So even in this small scale, which is still pretty significant sample size, you can see that there are more and more people being part of this creator economy and that they're actually making so significant money. Again, as we think about this next metaverse, Facebook is creating their platform, which is Horizon Worlds, which again is user-generated content, 3D social world, and already announced they will have $10 million creator fund to empower the creators for their metaverse platform. So you can see that the creator economy will be a big important part of the metaverse. It will be a better creator economy than what we have today because it will be based on direct payments and not clicks and eyeballs. There's also a new type of economy that's popping up, like I hinted before, that's not part of the creator economy, but is a way for people to be paid in the metaverse. And it's actually playing the games. It's play to earn concept. So games where you get a virtual reward for playing can be cashed out for real world money. So this idea exists for a while. We've only recently seen it actually work at scale. And right now, the biggest and best example of this is a game called Acting Infinity that was created in Vietnam. It's not very huge in the Philippines and other emerging economies. And what they saw, or what they see today, is about 33 million daily sales. And trades their NFT game characters and over 2 billion sales since the start of the game. What's really interesting is what this means for the individual players. So there are players in the Philippines that are earning 3 times the minimum wage and are using it as a primary source of income. It's really interesting. So the way it works is after playing, you have these virtual, it's kind of Pokemon as have the virtual characters. You have to kind of buy them, and as the growth you accumulate value, then as you battle others, then you get this other virtual token that you, if you win, then you cast out as well. And so you make money by either actually the virtual tokens that you get from winning, or from selling, buying, breeding, and trading the virtual pets themselves. And so you actually need to buy some virtual pets again, and it can actually be a little bit daunting at first, especially in these emerging economies. But then how companies are offering scholarship programs to sponsor players to help decide for fee. But we're seeing this model, this idea of player earnings exchange, what it means to do work in the future into the digital economy, into the metaverse. So now let's dig into some of the technology that is necessary to make this happen. I think about, again, one of the key components of the metaverse is persistent virtual world, right? It's need to make a persistent 3D world immersive, and then it's a range of user activities. Well, we need a 3D engine with physics and scripting. I think again, they're recreating existing 3D engines out there, like Epic and Unreal Engine, or Unity Engine. And of course, people can roll their own or build off of open source engines as well. And you need an avatar character system. That's something that hopefully let people express themselves, be creative, but it's also emotive and has that ability to upgrade or personalize virtual goods. And of course, you need large-scale real-time social interaction. And so you need high-speed networks that are latency that allow people to interact and make it feel like they're really there together in the same place. And of course, you need some kind of cloud computing and storage to keep all of this. You need to be persistent. It needs to stay across multiple sessions and hopefully accessible anywhere. So another key component we talked about was function economy. And this idea is that, okay, we want to buy and sell digital items that can be converted to real world value. And so I mentioned there needs to be a user-generated content component and tools to make user-generated content. It has to be digital goods, which are specifically the content created, and virtual currency to buy and sell these goods, and a way to act out that virtual currency for real world money. And so again, this is how it benefits not just the digital life, but then real life, or world life as well. And lastly, we need interoperability. We need this to be something where, again, like when we learn, we don't want it to be owned by just one corporation. We want this to be something that could be fair for everyone. And I think a lot of this idea of decentralized ownership. And of course, it will be virtual worlds that are owned by corporations. But then on top of that, another layer where you can then take your identity and digital possessions and bring from one virtual, closed virtual to another closed virtual world. And to enable that to happen, we also need, of course, file and format standards. And I think it's really interesting here where we talk about fundamental of play, live, work. Interoperability doesn't necessarily have to be a part of that for those things all kind of functions. Still do play, live, work, and then centralized ecosystem. But I think what we really have seen with the way that it networks right now is that giving too much power to one could have very damaging effects. And so this idea of really decentralizing ownership, make sure it's more easy to integrate across different platforms, I think it's going to be very much a key part of the metaverse. So where does VR and AR play into the metaverse? I mean, absolutely, virtual worlds are already popular without needing VR and AR. They were really great, a lot of people access it. But I think this is more of the internet before there were smartphones. And again, the internet was great for people's desktop and laptop. But it wasn't really until people had smartphones that internet usage really exploded. And it wasn't just about having a computer in your pocket and having it available everywhere. Honestly, I strongly believe the biggest innovation of smartphones was intuitive user interface that allowed everyone to use computers and internet easily in a very intuitive and natural way. When I grew up, you actually had to take classes to learn a computer, and it was just stand out with natural interface smartphones. People get it, and they understand it right away, and they can use it, and it's a game changer. So I've learned from the past 5 6 years now, really deep diving into the AR space, is that of course the immersion of looking around and seeing the digital world in series freedom is amazing, but really what provides the most profound experiences and opportunities is the gesture controls. It's not just seeing the digital world, but interacting with it in a natural way. So I think the gesture controls are the ultimate touch for 3D. And this is especially important, not just for the gaming part, but we talked about more with the productivity part. This idea about user-generated content. What does it look like today? To build 3D content, it's kind of like fat, and it's pretty daunting. As it's in the video, painting in VR, making 3D content in VR is just magical and much more intuitive. And if you feel like playing with Lego or sculpting clay and make 3D content, well, anyone and everyone can do it. And so this is why I think, again, so what impact the metaverse mobile internet. And we're going to see an explosion, both in the number of users, but also in types of users, brand new use cases that we never imagined. Just like on mobile, created lots of different uses for the internet that we would never have thought of if it wasn't for the mobile world. And what are the blockchain and technology, how do they interact? And you've seen I kind of talk about it throughout now, watching kind of bring back to the foreground here, well, the idea of interoperability is really going to be, or not that it has to be, but I think it can be very much enabled by blockchain, right? So again, the idea of not being tied to one platform, but to own your own digital information and bring it with you to any virtual world that you want to go to. Blockchain is one way of doing that. And one usage of blockchain is cryptocurrency, and what's interesting about cryptocurrency and how it's like metaverse one, of course, that cryptocurrency can be the virtual currency in that digital world. We're seeing blockchain metaverse platforms like Decentraland and others, and they have their own cryptocurrency. Then what's really interesting is a lot of times they connect to other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum or because it allows people to jumpstart our economy, right? And so we're seeing this kind of interplay between virtual economies and the metaverse cryptocurrencies, and that being the bridge to getting it closer into real world. And then, of course, NFTs, which we talked about in the fashion digital discussion. Really, NFTs is another use of the blockchain. It's idea that now digital goods, you can make them scarce and unique and get ownership of these unique virtual goods. And we're seeing, of course, being used for digital art, collectibles, avatars, fashion designs, and more. What's really interesting is that with NFTs, it allows not just for people to profit from selling it, but also the creator who created the NFTs and potential owners along the way each get a cut of the secondary sale, which is kind of new type of economic incentive that could be very powerful within this emerging economy. So in summary, I really want to thank you for listening. I hope this was interesting. I think it really comes down to this idea. Let's think about what the better version of Metaverse is, starting with this fundamental understanding of Metaverse, the collection of persistent virtual worlds with diverse activities and functioning economies that allow for people to live a fulfilling digital life. The core activity of play, live, work to all be present for it to be a real, true Metaverse, or else it was just a social network or a virtual world. And really, this is something brand new that we're creating. We're taking existing brands and behaviors and taking it in the mainstream. Whereas now, maybe millions of people are engaged with parts of Metaverse. We can now bring it to millions of people. I think one thing I want us all to think about is how we can actually take this moment to think about what we've learned, both the good and the bad from the internet and the 2D web, and thinking about how we can improve upon that as we make the 3D internet. So I'll give you this other interesting data point that I thought was that on average now adults in the US we spend about 8 hours a day, about half of our waking life, engaging with the digital world. And I think the opportunity now is with the Metaverse, we can make that time richer and more valuable. So when you're thinking about the Metaverse, you think about what you're building or how you're engaging, how you're interacting with it. Let's all think with that in mind about how we can make that time we spend in the digital world much more satisfying, much more positive, much more beneficial, not just for us, but for the world at large. Thank you very much. And please, if you're building anything in the Metaverse, if you are AR or AI, or reach out to me on Tipatat at VR Fund on Tipatat Twitter. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this was educational and enjoyable. Don't worry.